So, hello LionCon, this is Katie. I am a board member for LionCon, and this is the Wig duo. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
I am Paragon of Wig. I do a lot of the props and sort of more material sort of work.
Yeah. And I'm Sky Pirate. I am the vocal voice of our group, so if you post to our page, I'm usually the one replying.
It's always her.
It's true. He never goes on Facebook. He's really, like, low-key. I'm super... do all the things. And I do a lot of the sewing for our group, so...
Okay. So let's start off with a pretty basic question. Kind of, what got you guys into cosplay?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, for me it was back in middle school. I had a couple friends who were really into like manga, anime, and I was like, what is this cool thing? So I got to be really good friends with them through getting into like Japanese culture and language and tradition and of course the mainstream like ikebukuro, all that stuff. And so that kind of divulged into let's start making costumes and learning how to sew. Well, my grandma sews, my mom sews, I should be able to sew too, right? That's how that works. So I started sewing with my mom, and I was not good. I was definitely not good. But I was also just in middle school, so it was a big learning curve. But then we went to Anime Detour, actually, as our first convention. We drove like 8 hours to go to this convention one time, one con per year. If I could ever go to one con per year, I would be so bored with my year. We go to 15 about now per year. Yeah.
Almost
15. I might go to 15 because I usually do like day trips to some cons and stuff.
Right.
But we went to that con, and it was our only con, so we brought all the costumes that we had made. We made like 4 or 5 costumes. We were changing. I don't know how people do it anymore. I do like 3 costumes a weekend. I had like 7 planned back when I was first starting, and I was like, yeah, costume change halfway through the day. Do it again. Change some more. But that's kind of how I started. I started off really like bushy-tailed, bright-eyed cosplayer, learning how to do all the things, and just not slowing down, and haven't slowed down since. So.
Right. My story is a lot simpler. I had cosplay friends in college, and they were like, hey, we like this thing that we do, and I was like, hey, I'd like to do that too, and try it out. So I made myself an Ashitaka costume over a summer, and I was really, truly terrible. The first time I tried to make pants, I didn't realize that you needed to have like seam allowance, so I just literally just traced out my like jeans and just sewed it up, and I was like, these are pants for me when I was 8. Yeah, exactly. So that was a good time, but I've gotten a little bit better, but it's a lot easier with Janela because we can kind of play to our strengths instead of having to do everything. So that's really nice.
Sorry, there's an adorable dog trying to play it.
Yes, my adorable pit bull is trying to hog the attention as always.
I didn't get super into cosplay until I started dating Sky Pirate here.
Yeah, so just kind of, yeah. I mean, for me, it was starting off with lots and lots of costumes. It was mostly quality over quantity, but now I'm quantity over quality.
No, the other way around.
Wait, no, the other way around. It's quantity over quality. Now I'm quality over quantity. There we go. Now I got it right. Okay, but yeah. So now I've toned down to maybe doing like, you know, this year I have like 3 or 4 costumes planned, but they're like all really intense, like quality, go. So that's pretty much what I do now. But then I also make his, so. But you help me with some of my armors, so it's like yay.
Yeah, and I feel like armor is more challenging than sewing because you kind of have to fit it. Differently than if you try and sew it.
I would disagree, but that's just because I'm better
at it.
The first one than the other. I think it's more dependent on the person, which one is actually more difficult to do.
Okay. See, armor is difficult for me, easy for him. So
I can't sew.
Impossible for him, it's easy for me.
Terrible.
So.
Yeah, and I have not tried to make armor yet. I don't know if I ever will.
Because from my perspective, armor is easier to fit because armor is stiff. So like if I measure an area and I cut it out of like a hard material, it's going to be that area. Like I know what it's going to look like after it's done. But when you're talking about fabric, it's like it just falls on itself and does whatever it wants.
Yeah, because if you make a muslin pattern, but then you're making it out of a heavier like drapery or upholstery fabric, they're not going to drape flawlessly.
It seems way more difficult from my perspective, just because I can't know what it's going to be like when I'm done.
Yeah, that's very
Part
true.
of that is just because I'm not experienced in it. So
Yeah, and that takes time. I myself am making more costumes on my own. Will tell my story. I started off cosplaying, I would say, at Halloween because I love dress up. But actually going to cons and cosplaying is fairly new for me. And I basically would just go to a thrift store and throw things together because it was cheaper, and when I sew, it never fit when I was done. So I just did not like it anymore. I was like, nope, I'm gonna go.
For me, I always had the backwards. It was always too big, so I'd always have to take everything in, like always. And then when I started with my mom wanted the clothes to be bigger on me because she didn't like the form-fitting clothes. She was like, I don't like that. I don't like how that is you. I don't like that.
I don't like that
make
it
it a
shows your
size
shape.
bigger so then you're comfortable in it. No, Mom. Number one rule of cosplay is you're not doing it right unless you're you're uncomfortable. So
I have heard that before.
that's like my number one rule. It's like, well, you're not like, you don't have like full motion. You're doing it right. You're doing just fine. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I've seen
These
people with
clothes
like
aren't,
the
like,
gargoyle wings and like wings, and I'm like, how do you even get out of a car with those? Like
the thing is, like, what you're making is not functional. I mean, like, I just made Ashra from Clamp, and Ashra has all these like really silly chains that go from the front into the back, and they go over my arm. So I had like arm lift about this high.
oh,
So I was like, well, this isn't functional. Like, I can't lift my arm. Like, how am I supposed to fight with a sword? How am I supposed to conduct royal business? Like, I wonder why the only picture of him in that outfit is lounging on a couch. Like, so it's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
and I mean, you can draw whatever you want, whether or not it works in real life.
Yeah.
Completely different
Because I mean,
thing.
also Clamp people have like 6 foot long legs, so it's like whatever, you know. Just
Yes.
totally disproportionate bodies.
yes. So when you design costumes, do you work on armor and then she works on the sewing part of it, or is it kind of a
Generally,
combined thing?
yeah, we kind of say, okay, these are the different facets of the costume. You're going to take care of the sword and the hat or whatever it happens to be. I'm going to do this part. We don't really have to talk about it that much. Usually, when we pick out a costume, we just know who's going to be doing it.
Or leather work. Like, I can do like leather cutting, like I can cut out all the leather and I dye the leathers, but he bevels it because I just don't have enough wrist strength to be able to hammer over and over and over with a tiny little tool. I wouldn't make enough indent, so he has to do that, and I just know that that's something I can't do because I don't have the physical strength for it. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be Paragon's job.
It's really nice just because we can keep the quality really high if we just only do the things that we are good at.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we approach it. We look at a costume and we say, okay, Alan would be better at that, Janelle would be better at that, and then we go and do it.
Like, I wouldn't ask him to embroider.
Right, it'd be terrible.
Like, ever. I would never ask him to embroider. Or sew pearls onto a costume.
It wouldn't
like,
even be presentable. Like, it would look just horrendous.
Yeah, I had to.
Exactly.
I took embroidery in high school against my wishes. I did not want to take embroidery.
You had a class about embroidery? Oh my
I
god,
did.
where did you go to school?
I was kind of homeschooled by like my crazy relatives. So we had this older lady teach us embroidery, and she was hilarious. And my aunts were super religious, and she would make like sex jokes without realizing, knowing there were sex jokes. Yeah, and so we eventually like stopped going to her, but she was the only one that could teach us.
That was the reason that you
That
stopped
was,
going
I
to
think
it, too?
so. Yeah,
Okay.
it was like
So
she'd make
funny.
these like
That's really funny.
innuendo jokes, and
Was it your parents that weren't okay with that, or you guys?
no,
that were
it was just
uncomfortable?
my aunts, and it was my dad
Oh, okay.
came to me, and this was the summer, and he comes to me, he's like, "Oh, you're taking embroidery class." I'm like, "Why? Why would I take embroidery class?" And he's like, "Well, your aunts recommended you take it, so you're taking it." I'm like, "But I don't want to take embroidery class. You didn't even ask me, Dad." So I kind of wish I would have paid more attention, because now that I am trying to cosplay more, you are going to embroider some things,
Sure.
and I can't remember a damn thing.
Yeah, I started, my first crafty thing was embroidery. Like, I'd embroider dish towels with my aunt all the time, so I learned how to do really, like, tiny, like, chain links and all sorts of, like, flowers and, like, petal details and whatnot. So I know a couple different stitches. I have friends who are just gods at embroidery. Like, I could never do what they do, and I would never have the patience to do what they do, but I have patience in other fields, like applique or something, where it's like stitch, stitch, turn, stitch, stitch, turn. So it's just like a bunch of that. But yeah, and then crocheting. Crocheting is also a a good thing to learn, or knitting even. What do you do?
I'm trying to move this so that we can see the comments.
Okay, I was like, I can't see comments.
Okay, there we go.
So, one of our other admins says hello.
Hello.
Everyone.
I don't know about the comments on my phone. I'm gonna get really close. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, it's turned. Okay.
Cool.
You're all gonna turn.
Yeah, I know. We're all gonna turn it. We're trying to read it on my phone because we have the computer screen and then my phone.
Yeah.
My phone is sideways.
So I'm trying to. I had some questions.
There you go, cheat sheet.
I do.
Hey.
So really, how do you guys come up with your cosplay? Like, do you just watch an anime and be like, oh, I want to try that? No. Or you watch a movie and be like, oh, that'd be so fun to make, but that'd be like a pain to make. But I want to do it.
There's kind of two ways that it happens. It either happens like that, where we're just watching something and we're like, oh, we would pretty much anytime we watch a show, we like decide which ones we would cosplay from that show if we were going to cosplay from that show. So we always kind of have like a whole big list of ones that we would do, and then we pick the ones that we really, really like the most, or the shows we like the most, or the ones that have the most interesting outfits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, usually it's either characters that we really, really like for the characters, or it's characters we really, really like for the outfits. Sometimes both.
The design is a big thing for me because, like, I grew up liking Final Fantasy games, and so Amano does all the drawing for basically like Final Fantasies up to about like 12. So there's like the game rendered versions, there's the art book version, and then there's the Amano design version, which is just insane. There's like embroidery, there's beads, there's like stupid little twirlies and things that don't make sense. And I usually pick that one because I just want a challenge and I want it to be the envision of like the person that was designing these characters. I want it to be as they originally thought from their brains. So
for me, I would say it's actually more often where I take like either one of my favorite video games or favorite anime, and then I pick characters from that because I just want to do that. Like our next projects are from Valkyria Chronicles, which is one of my favorite video games.
So excited.
And so we picked characters from that video game because it's my favorite.
And then Final Fantasy 12 was for me. Final Fantasy 12 is not my favorite Final Fantasy, but Balthier and Fran are my favorite characters, and Balthier is my favorite character ever. This is a bold statement. Balthier is my favorite character ever. I'll fight you. Okay.
Bold statement here.
So it feels like it needed to happen. And hi, cat. So we decide a lot on like whose favorite characters it is or who likes the series the most. Like with Sully and Virion, I knew nothing about Fire Emblem. Nothing. That was a franchise I had no fingers dipped into, and that was kind of his thing because it's like tactical games, and he's really good at strategies. So, like, approaches me and is like, "Let's do Fire Emblem characters," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's Fire Emblem?" So that was the thing. But then Awakening comes out, and we're like, "Let's do another Fire Emblem stuff," because we had done Pent and Louise from was it 7?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was when I was like, I don't know what Fire Emblem is. I'm a scrub. So but now I know, and Awakening is awesome, and we picked them. But I didn't know the character at all. Like I knew nothing about Sully. Like Alan pretty much picked her because
because I knew you'd like her.
Yeah, because I mean, short, spunky redhead, rides a horse, like just. The business end of her is her sword kind of thing. It's like, okay, like that's fine. That's my attitude. I'll take it.
And is that the character you have where you're on the horse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I really like that picture. That was like a pretty cool professional photo and an awesome costume.
Sure. Yeah. That photo shoot itself was a dream, like a bucket list dream, and like something super cool that we got to do with a bunch of our friends because we have a really good friend, goes by Sunsuki, who does a lot of our photography, and he's incredibly talented from the area, and we kind of like kidnapped him, his girlfriend, and one of our really good friends, my friend, Anime Layer Cosplay, who I competed with at Detour and at Katsucon with, and who's basically over at my house like all the time now. But we pretty much kidnapped the three of them, put them in a vehicle, and said, hey, we're going to go do a photo shoot in Bismarck, North Dakota. Let's go. So, because our families are from there.
We're both from there,
So, his mom has, like, a property outside of town, and she owns a couple horses, and Roy was one of the horses. So I was like, I want to do a photo shoot on Roy. Let's see if we can do this. So we made sure that it was okay that we did it, and then we made sure that everyone had scheduling that we could go, and we just went and we did it, and it worked. And North Dakota sunsets are some of the most beautiful sunsets.
There's nothing obstructing
in the globe. Like they're so pretty. So we just we waited until like sundown to see if I could get on the horse. Like the biggest thing about this costume was like, can she get on the horse? I got on the horse and I didn't break anything, and it was really, really cool. It was cool to be on a horse with like a 6-foot-long lance. It was like, this is it. Like, this is cool.
I mean, it looks very cool.
Yeah,
it turned out pretty
felt
cool.
really cool. So I was like, this is good.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. So have you guys ever taken a character and like put your own twist on it? So, one costume I'm working on is steampunk Jack Skellington.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
So do you guys ever do that? Because I know it seems like you see the character and you're gonna mimic it, but do you ever take a character and be like, oh, let's like switch the gender, or let's change the costume a little bit?
Yeah. Well, speaking of switching the genders, we did that for Balthier and Fran. So like Balthier is the guy and Fran is the girl. You know, so we switched them. So
because Fran's way taller than Balthier.
And we did it for height accuracy too, because we knew that we'd be making our own shoes for these cosplays because their shoes are so crazy and different than anything we've ever seen. So we learned how to cobble shoes out of leather and wood to make these characters. So we were like, okay. And then we knew that the strengths of these costumes were going to play to our abilities as well. Like, mine would be primarily sewing, embroidery, crocheting, small little details, beads, everything like that, wig styling. His would be primarily armor and like chainmails and stuff like that, but I made most of the chainmail. So that one we kind of changed.
Really? You made your own chainmail?
Yeah, we made the chainmail patches.
We bought the links and then put it together.
Yeah, the links were
we didn't like wrap the wire and cut it and do the whole 9 yards.
Because they were so small, we didn't want to like putz around with that.
Because she has really tiny chainmail, and we didn't want to.
Like, no. I don't want to do that. We spend enough time bending them open to put more on and then making these weird shapes to fit into the side panels. And then I spent a bunch of time going over his armor again and coming up with a new method of dyeing and painting leather armor at the same time. So, because I've never seen it done. I've seen both done separately, never together at the same time. So, I've seen people like dye leather and then paint over it later, but I've never seen people like use paint and dye at like the same time and buffing them and using highlights and stuff like that. So that was and then so over his leather armor I dyed it and then did dye paints and then it all turned out really nice.
Wow.
And then that was my first big wig project too, because his wig is actually it's 2 wigs with a lampshade in the middle of it. So there was a large project that I undertook. So it weighs like
a lot,
15 pounds almost. It's insane. The wig's heavy.
It's definitely one of those
the wig that he wears.
Oh wow!
It's like 15 pounds. It's a lot of suffering in that costume. But
a lot of neck exercises, like neck strengthening or something.
It's right here that gets really bad.
Yeah.
Right here, and then there's a spot where the wire kind of gets me sometimes.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's not fun.
So I mean, but we're doing it right because we're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what matters.
That's what matters.
Yep. If you're not comfortable, you're not doing it right.
Normally, though, when we do look at a character, we try to stick as closely as we can to it because we are normally entering craftsmanship competitions where accuracy is key. So, like, if you bring forward a character and you bring your, the photo that you went off of and you're like, this is the character that I am, this is me as the character, look at the accuracy. So that's kind of the whole,
it's easier for judges to judge a costume that looks
like
a mimic costume rather than like...
So if you do the more serious, I guess, cosplaying contest, you have to bring in a reference photo.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much mandatory.
If you're going to like do a kind of your own twist on something, you probably want to like at least draw it out.
Yeah. Like you want to have like a drawing reference.
If you want to compete. I mean, it doesn't, and it's less important at like the lower levels of competition too. Like if you're competing as a novice and stuff like that, it's not as important as your crafting skills. But when you get up to like the higher levels of competition, that's when they're really looking like, can you do this as it is shown in the media? Because that's harder than just doing something well. It's harder to do something well exactly like it is in a picture than it is to just do something well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, another thing, if you're like bringing a twist onto a character, bring the reference photos of the things you've been looking at. So like for like steampunk Jack Skellington, you're probably looking at other steampunk things to get inspiration. Bring those in, like make them part of your portfolio for that character. Like I drew inspiration on this hat because I really liked how this bit of this hat looked, and I wanted to incorporate it into mine. Or I liked the goggles from this one. I liked how they used like gears with little bat wings or something on them.
Yeah.
This one, like this Halloween thing, and I was like, maybe if I can put them together, like it'll look like this, and roughly sketch it out. Like I just draw some lines, and I'm like, it's a sketch.
Yeah, as long as you can show what you're emulating, then you're in good shape. Really.
Yeah, kind of like just where the inspiration comes from. So, and even if it's just inspiration in your brain, and you're like, you wake up at 4 a.m, you're like, oh, I had this great idea, I gotta write it down. You can literally just write it down and be like, gears with bat wings, and like draw a little like terrible looking gear with bat wings on it, because that would be me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, they kind of look like bat wings, or they look like hands.
Except you'd redraw it again later.
Yeah, then I would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, yeah, I'd probably like
Because
wake
you're
up
a little bit perfectionist, let's be honest.
Just way better. Yeah, I had a friend, she wanted to do a combo of Jack and Sally, and so we kind of shared some pictures, and I looked at different steampunks, but I really have no idea how this is going to look when it's done.
Sure.
I'm using a skirt and bottom from another costume, and I'm making my jacket, and I bought a corset because I don't.
Right.
You want to try to make those?
I mean, when it comes down to it,
they're
cosplay
really fun.
cosplay is not just competition cosplay. Like there's a million ways to do your cosplaying,
Yeah.
and none of them are necessarily wrong. But,
Yeah, no, there's really, honestly, and
I mean,
there's no wrong way to cosplay. There are wrong ways to enter competitions. Like
Right, exactly.
that's where like rules start coming in. So like then you
Yeah.
need to actually start reading rules and being like, is my costume applicable?
but I mean,
to
if you
this
can
costume
buy
contest?
buy one skirt that you can use for 5 cosplays, like that's
Right.
awesome. Like,
Yeah. Or if you can build a certain part of your costume to reuse on many costumes. So I have a friend who built this gorgeous, amazing hoop skirt, like
Right.
by scratch. Absolutely gorgeous.
Okay.
And she's used it as the base of like 2-3 costumes at this point.
Right. Different dresses.
Because it's just the understructure. And
Yeah.
the understructure is solid, made by you.
Mm-hmm.
Use it over and over again. Like
Yeah, why
you
not?
still made it. It doesn't matter if the costume on top has won, because it's not going to be the costume on top the next time. Like it's a different costume.
It's just a baseline that you're going to use to kind of help build your other cosplays throughout your rest of
Right.
the
Because there's no reason to make things harder on yourself than they have to
Oh my
be, you
gosh.
know?
Please. Especially when you get up to like master class, please don't make it any harder, because you already know that you're just going to be like suffering. So
So if you could give tips to people that are thinking more into competition wise, so like I did LionCon last year, and I've done Wizard World, and that's pretty basic. They really don't have rules. It's more as you know, this is for fun, this is for everybody.
Sure.
But if you wanted to do more of those, like I guess the smaller cons, I assume like have rules. Like Anime Detour has rules, Annieapolis, Metacon. They have rules that you have to follow to be put into these classes.
Yeah.
Kind of, what would be your advice to somebody that kind of wants to advance more into those competitions? And win more?
My first thing would be, if you have no idea like about costume contests, or if you've done a costume contest at a different convention and want to enter at another convention, read the rules.
Yeah.
Read the rules,
I mean,
please.
that's the first step.
That's my thing. I even at most of these cons I run a panel that's about like being in the masquerade, and my first thing is, please read the rules, because I read the rules to make this PowerPoint to tell you about the rules. So I had to read the rules, and I'm not even in the competition. Like you need to read them, because this is what you need to do. This is your part of it. So
But I would
reading
say,
the rules is very important.
I would say tips for like newer people at least, because I mean, obviously you're gonna have different advice for different stages. But if you're very new and you're looking to try and do these competitions and stuff, the first thing I would say to look at is to make sure if you're sewing that your seams are finished.
Yeah, please.
That's like step one. Like if your seams aren't finished, you're probably not going to get an award. That's just
what
it
we
comes
mean
down
by
to.
that, like, so when you're sewing and you fold over the bottom to hem a piece or something like that, so say like the bottom of a skirt, you have a raw edge, you fold it up, fold it again.
Right.
Like,
Because the thing
I don't
is,
want to see that raw edge just folded up and then the inside. Yeah, I'm going to flip your seam. So, like...
the problem is that if you don't do
fold
that...
it twice, it's called a rolled hem, and it looks very clean, because it's all finished edges. There's no raw fraying edge, there's nothing. Like,
Because there's 2 stages when you're judging a competition. There's 2 things that happen. The first thing is you drop out everything that you don't think is going to make an award. Right? You make your short list, and then your short list, a lot of times they're really, really, really close in like how cool the costume is, how much work was put into it, those sorts of things. The actual final decisions most of the time come down to tiny details, like who did all of the little things that make their costume just like a tiny little bit more finished than the other guy who almost gets the award.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and one thing
the
that
details end up becoming really, really important.
along with details and like finishing your costume, like don't just focus on the front. Yes, the front is where all the pictures are going to come from, but like when you're in judging, we will walk around you or we'll ask you to do a slow spin for us to see the movement and the whole parts of the costume. So think that 360 view. Like your character is going to be walking around. Like they're not going to have nothing on the back side. Like if there's a detail in the front and that piece continues onto the back, I want the detail to continue onto the back. Like that's kind of the thing. Or if there's like a small, like, what would it be? Like a,
I'm not sure where you're going with that.
if there's like a belt on the front and it has a buckle on the front, but then there's another belt that's turned to the back. Like weird. Final Fantasy does this a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Tales of series like Symphonia, Abyss, Exilia.
Well, it's easier in video games because
Put
a
a
lot
buckle
of
on the back
video games,
too.
yeah,
Don't
a lot
just,
of video games are the back view, so the back of the character is also interesting. It's more difficult with like anime where you have to start thinking about that sort of thing. Like sometimes you don't get good back views, or when you do, they're like really simple, which is fine. I mean, as long as you're doing what the character is, even if they don't have an interesting back, that's not an issue. But just don't half-ass the back, really, is what it comes down to.
That's true.
So what about if you do makeup?
Yeah, this is something that I've been actually getting into more. So when I first started, I knew nothing about makeup. As you can see, I don't wear daily makeup. I don't do makeup on the day-to-day basis. I only wear makeup when I cosplay, and to me, makeup is theater. Like I put makeup on, I'm not me. So like even for job interviews, I don't put makeup on because I want to be me. Like I am me. But when I put makeup on
for cosplay,
it is essential because you have these wigs on, and the wigs are changing your head shape. You're like with all of your hair up, your head is slightly bigger, which means your eyes are going to be smaller. You want to bring your eyes out. Because if you have a character with bangs, your eyes are going to melt back into your face. They're going to completely disappear. So putting on eyeliner, eyeshadows, mascara especially. I was like looking at my makeup at Detour and I was like, man, something's wrong about my eyes. They're not where I want them to be. Realized I didn't have my mascara on yet. And I was like, bam, bam, done. Now they're right now.
And the nice thing about makeup is that makeup probably has the most...
and everything.
It also has like the most tutorials of any craft on the internet. There are like so many makeup tutorials. It's ridiculous.
And I learned a lot of it from just watching like quick makeup tutorials. It's like a lot of like bigger cosplayers put out some if they like work with. I know Mango Cyrene does a lot.
You can also learn a lot from like
makeup, so.
Beauty makeup sort of stuff too, depending on the character. Because some characters are going to need theater makeup, some characters are going to have like different skin tones or like huge anime eyes or whatever. But like the basic daily makeup is also super helpful because it's just something more that you did to try to enhance the costume.
And I've noticed like a lot of cosplayers, even at like a like the novice level, still do wear colored contacts, and that actually does help bring your eyes out more because it makes your pupils bigger, which then enhances your eyes, but you still need that makeup to really make them pop.
Because what it comes
otherwise
down
then you
to...
kind of look like an alien.
Yeah.
Because your pupils are really big, but your eyes are really small. And you're like,
Because when you think about it, you don't have to do these things, right? Like, you don't have to finish the back of your costume or do makeup or things if you're just going to make a costume and cosplay. Well, where it comes, the difference is in competition, because if you don't do these things, somebody else will, and that's going to put their leg up on you. That's why we're kind of discussing all these things. And we're making it sound like you have to do these to cosplay. It's not that you have to do these to cosplay. It's that you want to do these things if you want to compete.
If you want to be really competitive.
Cosplay.
Like, this is if you want to, like, up your game, climb that ladder. So...
Because none of this is required stuff. It's just stuff that's that somebody else is going to do that might give them a leg up on you if you're in a competition scenario.
Yeah. Also, like, when you... Especially your first impression to the judges, so when you walk up to the judging table and the judges see your costume for the first time, you want to be clean. Like, you want to be really clean. Like, you want to have no wrinkles on your costume if you can. I know, like, sometimes a lot of green rooms get really lengthy, and that's one of the like trepidations that a lot of people who are new to costuming competitions are like, oh, the green room takes all day. This is an all day thing. Yes, it is, because it's important. Like, it's all day. Yeah, that's okay. Like, too bad. But sometimes you can get to sit there and you're like sitting there for like an hour, 2 hours, and your costume might get a little wrinkly. That is acceptable. We understand. We get it. Like, but if you've been wearing this costume, if you wore it on Friday or you didn't, or you like packed it in a suitcase and you folded it a lot, and then you just like bring it out, put it on Saturday, and it has a bunch of like line wrinkles in it, and you're like, somebody didn't iron. So ironing your costume, like steaming it, making sure that it looks crisp, nice.
Right.
Like, that also enhances what you've done for, like, sewing. Like, if you iron your seams, like, and make them crisp, your costume lays and hangs better. It just looks nicer. And, like, your wig especially, like, try not to have your wig be, like, a tattered, scary rat's nest. Like, please don't. Like, I understand, like, long wigs are really hard to manage sometimes, especially in cons. Like, if you think of, like Hatsune Miku with the two big, like, ponytails where they go down to forever. Those are unbearable and hard to control at cons because there's people walking, they'll static out to people, they'll get stuck on you, you'll be like brushing them all day, the wind might take them. I mean, just try your best, like bring a comb. I always bring like an emergency bag into the green room with me to like freshen up. It has like a little compact for powdering and stuff like that. So like just little things that you can help. In the room too, a little spritz of hairspray before you go to judging also is like a thing that even novices can do to up their game.
Because there's two things that are going to happen when you walk up to the judges. Two things that they're going to notice. One, they're going to notice the really cool things about the cosplay, and two, they're going to notice obvious mistakes and obvious like problems. So the more you can bring up the cool things about your costume and minimize the little like wrinkles and like things like that are going to make you off-putting, the better your first impression is going to be.
And that continues into how you talk about your costume too. Like, don't ever focus on the negatives of your costume. Like, please don't come up to me and say like, I tried really hard on this costume and it didn't quite work out.
Oh god,
I don't care. I don't care. Like, you tried really hard on the costume. Like, stop right there. Like that's where your sentence ends. Like, I don't need that. I don't need the rest.
No, because then you're gonna look for the defaults. Like, okay, well, where did they mess up instead of maybe glancing over it?
Literally, I equate a cosplay judging moment to like a job interview. It's like, you want to sell yourself in your best light, you want to tell what you're good at, you want to be like, look at this cool costume I made, and then like, you hope that they don't flip that one seam that like got a little like, kind of like drunk sewing, like, you don't want that one flipped, but don't ever point it out, because even if I do come up and flip that one, I'll be flipping it so fast that I probably won't even notice, because I'll be flipping a lot of them. Like, I won't focus in on that, because if you say like, oh, well, I had a lot of trouble sewing the shirt, I will go and slowly turn all of them to see why you had such a problem. Because then later on, I'd probably come up and try to address and like give you critique about it and be like, hey, like, you know, like I see you sewed with this kind of fabric. Like, either try this fabric or try this method if you want to continue to keep using this fabric.
And so a lot of times you're going to be like limited on time that you have to talk to the judges. You also want to think about that in that light. Like, you don't want to focus on the things that the judges aren't going to like.
If you only have like 90 seconds.
If you've only got 2 minutes, even 5 minutes, like, you're going to want the most of that time to be spent on the stuff that is really cool about your costume, and the least amount of time possible spent on the stuff that you didn't like as much. And you don't have to say stuff like, oh, I made this ribbon, but I don't really like it. Moving on, like, just be like, this is how I made the ribbon, and then move on to the other cool things that you really do like. And like, spend time talking about how you made the stuff that you thought turned out really well, and stuff like that, and go into the details, because those details, again, are what are going to put you just ahead of somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so really spend time on the stuff that is really good, and the detailed stuff you did on the stuff that you really, really like. Because that's where the judges are. That's where you're going to get the most, I guess, like, attention from the judges, is on your good stuff, and that's what you want to happen.
So we're at our halfway point. We have been staggering between 11 and 14, so yay. And if any of the viewers have any questions, you can comment and we will have them answer them. Again, This is the group Wig. They're going to be at LionCon this September 2nd through the 3rd in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It is the only con in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Go St. Cloud. Fun. Yeah, they were actually Wig. Sky Pirate competed last year. She had a very awesome costume. I also competed against her. I was Beetlejuice. We were not in the same class, obviously, because she's way more advanced than I was. So we had asked them again to come back this year and to be judges.
Yeah.
And panelists.
And panelists. So we'll talk about that. They're going to be running a few panels. We now this year have a separate room for panels. and our cosplay competition. We also will have an anime viewing room for people to watch anime. So why don't you guys talk about the panels you're going to do for us or going to have?
Yeah. So some panels that we usually run for like competitions, probably.
We'll run the elements.
Yeah, like we have one that we've created for conventions that are just starting to get like a cosplay scene at their convention. We call it the Elements of Cosplay. It's like a touch and go of everything in cosplay, like wig, makeup, costume, prop, where you can buy things, how you work with them, working in a group, working with just one person, working by yourself. Competing.
Yeah. So we're going to give like a low-level cross-section across everything that you like, all the different aspects of cosplay.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, here's a little bit about wigs, here's a little bit about armor, here's a little bit about sewing, here's a little bit about makeup, blah, 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 all the way down the line.
And we give a very thorough list of where you can find materials. Like, because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to make props. Like, where can I get this stuff that you keep talking about? Or like, where can I get these things that you brought samples for? Because we always pass around like a piece of each of the materials that we talk about because we have all of them in our house.
The goal of that
squares and we're like, hey.
The goal of that panel is to get you off the ground.
Yeah.
Either as a starting cosplayer or with things that you haven't necessarily done before.
Yep. And like all of our presentations come with like a PowerPoint that I make. So, and I am more than willing to email you the PowerPoint after the fact. So if you're like, oh well, I didn't have my phone was dead, I couldn't take a picture of the list that you gave, or like I wanna be a little more clear about like what supplies I need for basic wig working. Can you send me the PPT? And I'll be like, yeah, this is yours, go for it. All you have to do is just credit me if you ever like use it, or like if you make something using like this tutorial that I put in there that's ours or something like like if you follow like whatever we did for like either Fran's wig or like something like that, it'll be like, hey, just mention wig, I'd love to see it, kind of thing. So, because I really like when people, especially after we've judged them, and in judging competitions, they take our critiques and they fix that costume, and then they come and find us at another convention in that costume, and it's just so pretty, and it's like, yay, you did a good job, thank you. And they're just like so thankful for all the feedback that we get. So like I really am like transparent when it comes to giving out like the PPTs and everything from our presentations. So that's definitely something that I like to do.
Yeah, so I know we'll run that panel. As far as other panels go, we have a couple more in-depth panels for specific things.
Yeah, we have like an in-depth panel for wig working. We have an in-depth panel for masquerades. Leatherworking. Leatherworking.
Armor patterning, just in general. And if you guys,
props.
If there's anything you want us to do in depth, like if you're like, hey, I've got this costume I want to make, I have no idea how to approach this certain aspect, or like I want to get like another opinion on how to approach something, like let us know, let LionCon know what sort of panels you guys would want, and we'll do them. I mean, we've got a pretty good cross-section of a lot of different things.
We have a lot of knowledge on stuff. Like, if you want to just have a panel about how do I make small details on my costume, like if you want to know how to do like tiny embellishments, I can do anything from embroidery to sewing on pearls one by one. Like, I can do like applique stuff, like teaching you how to do like top stitch applique versus satin stitch appliques. So I mean, like I can do like panels on just the smallest little details.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, now would be the time to recommend certain panel types, because we haven't ironed out exactly what we're going to be bringing there. So.
Yeah. So I know for sure, though, we are running the Elements of Cosplay one, because that is like very good for the cosplay scene at LionCon. So it fits very well. It's gels. It's good.
Yeah, and it seems like you're going to kind of touch on a little bit of everything that somebody would start off kind of asking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to cosplay, but I want to get more serious about what I want to do and where I want to sew. So for materials, I'm kind of curious where you guys get your. Do you order online? Do you go to like Joann's?
It depends on the material.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
It depends on the materials. Like things like thermoplastics, we pick them up at like you can get at in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm going to curve this. In Minneapolis, St. Paul, there's this store called Tandy Leather. I know there's other locations of the store, but we have 2 of them. You can buy Terraflex, which is their version of Warbler. It's a little bit different, but it works in pretty much the same way. It just needs a lot of sanding priming like the original Warbler. So and it also smells like maple syrup. That's a plus. So,
It is weird.
yeah, it's really weird. But like Warbler, when it comes to like Warbler, Black Warbler, fire resistant, and transport art, we order that from cosplaysupplies.com or Arta themselves. Arta Plastics, not Arta Wigs.
But other than thermoplastics and like wigs, most of the stuff that we buy in storefronts, depending on what the material is.
Yeah. Lately, I have been
Like foam
kind of forced almost in a way due to like lack of things on shelves. So like I've noticed in Joann's, like you get to a certain point in costuming where you outgrow Joann's and you outgrow like the fabric outlet SR Harris and stuff like that around here. I have gone, it used to be where I go into SR and I leave with every fabric I need. This is perfect. The last 4 times I've been to SR, I've walked out empty-handed. I feel like I've outgrown SR now and I'm like, well darn. So now I've been ordering all of my swatches online.
Yeah, but
so
that's specialty fabrics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, for most fabrics, you're going to be able to find it
Cotton, linen. Joanne actually carries Duponi silks now in 12 different colors. So, spandex, felt, fleece, all sorts of things. Like your average fabrics, the more common fabrics, I should say. You'll find them at Joanne. Or like if you're looking for like a common like white satin, I need white satin. I need like pink satin or something like that. You can get that at Joanne. Like that's not an issue. If you're looking for more like detailed fabrics or like specifically woven things like wools, suitings, like performance knits that have decorations and stuff on them or certain details, check out SR. Their location up in Brooklyn Center is the best one. That's the big warehouse. They do have another small location down in Burnsville. That one's more quilting based and long drapery fabrics. So they do have like the big drapes, like curtain drapes and stuff like that. And like they have some brocades and things like that, but they are more quilter like centric. Yeah, like half of their store is the quilting, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of quilts. That's a lot of like cottons and stuff like that. So if you're looking for cottons that have like designs on them, go there. But if you're looking for more like specialty fabrics, definitely check out SR in Brooklyn Center. Like for us, we are in West St. Paul, so it's a drive. We make a day out of it. We go there early in the morning. We go there, and then we go to the Maple Grove. Joanne, is it Maple Grove?
Usually,
yeah. The Maple Grove Joanne, because we just need to pick up like a couple like basic fabrics like broadcloth or like muslin for patterning or something like that. So
I have recently discovered the SR fabric outlet. I had gone there with my cousin to pick out curtains, and now that I moved my house, I need more curtains. So I bought curtain material, and it was, I mean, it's a discount store. It's going to be cheaper.
Yeah. I think everything in the store is 50% off.
Yeah.
Of what it is marked on the bolt. So on the bolt or on the large roll, it's always 50% off of what that is. So like you'll walk in there, you'll be like, oh, it's $14.99 a yard. Ugh, but it's actually only $7.99 a yard. So
yeah, and sometimes they'll have it cheaper. I think I got my like curtain fabric for $3.99 a yard.
Yeah,
that's $20
awesome.
yard, $20 a yard fabric at like Joann's or something.
Yeah.
So my other question for you is: do you still use patterns, or do you kind of mismatch, or do you do it yourself?
It's kind of a big. Yeah, it's kind of a big mismatch. I started off using patterns and then using like multiple patterns together, so like Frankensteining patterns, because that's what my mom taught me, because she always Frankensteins patterns together because
you're never gonna find a pattern for an anime coat, like trench coat or something like that. Like it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna be exactly what you need.
Things going on.
Oh, it has a belt on the collar.
Right, you're gonna need to like take a pattern and then like modify it.
Yeah. But then we have been making, for like the last 2 years, our really like intense costumes, we have made every pattern from scratch. Like roll the bolt of muslin out, put it on the person, draw the thing, cut it out, add the seam allowance, sew it together, make a mock-up. But then like recently I've been finding like, oh, well, I need to make a coat. Like, wow, that's easy. Patterns are $1.99 right now. I'm gonna buy that coat pattern that kind of looks like the coat I need to make.
I guess what it really
it's like if I can find a cheat code, I'm gonna use it.
Right.
But like for competition heavy pieces where we're very much like we're going into a really hard competition, we cannot use patterns on these. And this is something that can't be patterned. Like like Balthier, like his vest tunic weird thing that he has, totally made by hand because there is no pattern for something like that. And I was making it out of garnet leather, so like using fabric wasn't really, or using like a paper pattern wasn't going to work as well as using a muslin mock-up. So
what it really comes down to is use a pattern if you can, or modify a pattern if you can. There will be times when you can't.
Don't be worried if you also don't understand how to read the pattern 100% of the time. Whenever I run into the word based, I know that it means to make big stitches, but I still think of a turkey. I'm like, based. That's a cooking word, and it's not though. So
yeah, patterns kind of have their own language, their own.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, don't feel bad if you just don't understand how to put a pattern together, but just know that, like, front and back go together, shoulders have to be sewn together, like, you know, it's like the duh things. You can kind of, you know, putz your way through a pattern by being intuitive. So, but, like, for, like, small things, don't sweat the small stuff when it comes to following a pattern. Don't, like, freak out if you don't understand what step 12 means. Like, you can probably just type it on the internet and have someone actually put it into the I am not McCall's language, so like actually like real people language. So
yeah, I use patterns for little bits and pieces, and I probably caught my cousin 3 or 4 times a week, be like, okay, I don't know what this means, and I feel like this is wrong. Yeah. So why doesn't this work? She was over here the other day, and she had to help me make a dart because I'm like, why doesn't this work? I don't know how to make a dart with this. And she's like, oh, you just go like this and you just do it. So I had her like fold everything and put the pins in. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sew it. I'm just gonna. Like, thank you.
Super important thing if you are using patterns. Patterns have these little like triangle cuts on the pieces, and they have like little circles. They have like medium-sized circles and little circles.
Okay.
Make sure when you're using them, mark those circles because they're going to come up in the pattern instructions later, and they're gonna be like, make a dart from small circle A to large circles B and C, and you're gonna be like, oh. Pooh, I didn't mark those. You know, like,
pull the pattern back out, put the pin in.
Right. And then you have to get the pattern back out, lay it on, make sure it's right. Because if your pattern is a little askew on your fabric, it's going to throw everything off, especially if you're using a pattern with darts. So
we got a good question.
We did. What is it?
What is your all-time favorite cosplay that you've created together?
Ooh. That's hard.
That's really hard.
That's really hard. Why would you ask a question hard? So for me, my all-time favorite is. Never mind. I thought I had an answer. I did it, and then I like second guessed myself, and I was like, shoot. Well, okay. So I'm not going to answer the question, but I'm going to walk around it.
That's not very nice.
I mean, okay, but I can't like pick a favorite, but I can pick favorites based on how I address them. So like. Well, the one that we're known for is Astrid and Hiccup, because he looks like Hiccup. It's freaky. So it's all the Norwegian blood in him. And, like, I'm spunky and feisty and short like Astrid, but Astrid's actually taller than Hiccup, so it gets a little weird sometimes, but whatever. That's the one where we're, like, not height accurate. So, but, yeah, Astrid and Hiccup are the ones that we became known for, the ones that we had the most fun making, I think, because... You got to putz around with leather and really get to know how to make some cool stuff. Like that helmet. What? Like I'm still absolutely just I have no idea how he made it. Like it's just it mind boggles me because that's not something that I could make. I can't just put newspaper on my head and pattern these pieces and have, you know, him take a picture of me to make sure it's in the right spot kind of thing. Like I don't know how you did it. It was a long time.
Yeah, I would say Balthier and Fran are probably really close.
Yeah.
But I think Astrid and Hiccup probably barely edged them out, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. I would say either Astrid and Hiccup or Balthier and Fran.
I'd say Astrid and Hiccup because we can also move in them. And, you know, like, I love Balthier and Fran, but he is so uncomfortable in Fran that it breaks my heart a little bit. Oh, no, my phone did a thing.
Hold on. And sorry, her phone is,
closing app to cool down,
have to...
And that one.
Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, everyone who was watching from Wig. I'm gonna post really quick. My bad.
No, that's fine. Do you guys have your cosplay picked out for what you're going to wear at LionCon?
That is a good question. Well, LionCon happens in like fall, so probably something that I won't overheat in, and something I won't be too cold in. Right. So I try to like play the weather a little bit.
And it's 2 days, so we get to pick 2, which is nice.
Yeah. So usually on like competition day, even though we're not competing, we like to wear something really nice because we are presenting not only the convention, but we are also presenting ourselves. So like we are Wig Cosplay, and we are working for LionCon. Like we want everything to look really nice and very pristine, and this is the reason why LionCon invited us, kind of thing. Like this is why they have us here, is because we can make things like this.
And Astrid and Hiccup are probably an option.
But yet that we can move in because we have to judge people, so we have to be able to like bend over, we have to be able to like have full hand motion and arm motion mostly. So I mean it'll be something, maybe not something like totally bombastic, not probably like I don't know, it wouldn't be like Sully. I can't really sit in Sully because too much armor. I can sit down, I've sat on a horse, but I mean that's like back posture and everything. Like I can't really move, I can't put my arms down all the way, and it gets really, really uncomfortable for me because of all the armor in here. So definitely not wearing Sully. It's gonna be not a thing. But yeah.
Well, for Friday we'll probably decide later and make it a surprise, but we'll probably do Astrid and Hiccup, I would say, for Saturday for judging.
Yeah. Yep, and it's it is Saturday and
let's write
Sunday.
the link here.
Yeah.
For LionCon or for Wig?
I'm pretty sure they're. We can't link them here.
Yeah, it's weird. It links you to like.
If we do.
Do you do at?
Here we go. At Wig.
Oh, there you guys are.
All right, I will link. That is our page.
Yep. So they.
Shoot. Oh yeah, it did.
Nope,
link.
it did.
Yeah, because you type the Facebook thing, or just
so
like,
they have.
That's where you can find all our pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they have linked their cosplay Facebook page. I highly recommend looking at it. It is really cool to look at.
If you see a costume you'd like to see in person, let us know. Maybe we'll consider wearing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you guys are going to be willing to take pictures with, like, if you go as Astrid and Hiccup, I bet you kids are going to be like, oh, oh my god, yay, that's so cool.
That's a good question, too. So the question is, any suggestions for those who are better at modifying real clothes for cosplay?
Ooh. Yeah. So if you are working with modifying clothes, like thrifting, they call it thrifting up. So thrifting up is an interesting thing to do. I used to do it when I first started, and that's kind of usually where most people do start, is doing that, because it's easier to build off of something that previously exists. Like changing the color of it. If it's white, you can dye it.
Especially if you're doing like more modern day type of cosplays, rather than like super fantasy and stuff like that.
So say you're doing. Well, actually, we just did one where we thrifted you up because it was an everyday costume. Keiichi from Oh My Goddess. So I made my entire costume and dyed my dress because I am a perfectionist and a little too much time on my hands. Actually not, I'm too busy, but I still do this. But his costume, we're like, well, he wears jeans, a white t-shirt, and a black leather jacket.
Because he's a standard, romance shonen main character.
Think like Love Hina.
He's just a Japanese
guy who just does stuff, and then these women get dropped on him, and things happen. And
so he's like, I wear a leather jacket and jeans.
Yeah, so he's just a guy who does guy stuff, and it's like, okay, well, we can thrift that. He owns a white shirt. He owns a pair of jeans. All we had to do was go out and get the black leather jacket. So we went and we went around and we looked, and we found not a man's jacket, but a woman's jacket. So we put it on him and it fits and it works perfect. But it has this wacky bright blue satin lining on the inside. It's beautiful leather jacket on the outside. It's perfect. So we just make sure he never opens the jacket.
But as far as suggestions go,
suggestions for that, probably if you can find a piece that you know that you can either add paint to change color, because I know a couple cosplayers who get tank tops, and if the character wears a tank top but it's green but with dark green shadows or dark green lines or black detailing on it, they will paint that on, they'll add it on, or they will actually buy a little bit of black fabric and cut out the appliques and then sew them on. So you can always do different versions. You can paint, you can sew appliques. It depends on what your level is for that.
So the core of the the shape of the garment is more important
than the small details. So talking about the trench coat earlier, we used a pattern to make a trench coat, but then this character on his collar had a different collar than the trench coat, so we had to then pattern out a collar from the trench coat that was already made.
And so
so we've made the trench coat now.
Or if you
now
bought a trench coat.
Yeah, or if you bought a trench coat, you have to like toss the collar pattern aside and get out some like things that are a little bit simpler that you can add the details to are better than like really crazy garments that you're gonna have to like pull things off of. Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're like taking something apart, it's not going to
look the same,
like sit right, or it's going to have like holes in it or different things like that. So try to build up when you're thrifting rather than
building down.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't deconstruct when thrifting. Construct. Yeah. The thing with holes is like when you say like a coat has a belt on the wrist that you don't want there. If you seam rip that off, there's going to be little pinpricks in it, and if you seam rip it, you also run the risk of cutting the fabric by accident.
Right. And sometimes
your seam rip's really sharp. This is me. I've done this. I've literally been seam ripping and have cut into my main fabric, and I'm like, oh no!
And sometimes you don't know how that thing was constructed necessarily. There might be like glue under there, so even if you seam rip it, it's gonna like pull paint off or like there's all kinds of pitfalls you can
there's like accidental things that might happen.
But if you're building up, you always know what you have as the base. So.
Yeah,
that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely important. Like, we did red and blue from Pokemon Sun and Moon, and he started off with a white t-shirt. I bought some red knit spandex and I took off the sleeves of the white shirt and put on red sleeves. So I used the sleeve as a pattern to put onto my red fabric and then actually cut the same thing and just re-sew it back on, so now he has red sleeves. Hello, puppy. So, you're my friend. But like, for Gary, all I had to do was find a pair of green jeans, chop them off and turn them into capris.
Exactly.
And then I found a black bowling shirt pretty much, and then it had black buttons on it, so I went and bought white buttons and sewed those white buttons on instead. It's just like little things that you can change and you can alter it. So like with the pants, never buy something shorter and make it longer. You can't. Don't do that, because you can't. It doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. It's like, duh.
And then it looks
but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people ask.
Do we have any places that people might not know about for thrifting?
Honestly, like Goodwill. Like, Goodwill
is literally
there are
like a million
of them. To thrift. Savers is really good. Yeah, around here we have this place called Savers. I don't know if it is anywhere else.
Yep, there's Savers in St. Cloud. Cool. I moved to Minneapolis from St. Cloud. I can definitely see there's higher quality stuff donated up here than there was in St. Cloud.
Sure.
I was in the Woodbury one. Yeah, the Minneapolis Maple Grove. I went to a Woodbury Goodwill, and I was just like, there's still tags on this stuff. This is new kitchenware and everything. So, my suggestion, if you really want to try and you can't find it, make a day trip and go to the cities and go check out Maple Grove, or go check out.
Yeah, or even if you live in the cities and you're not finding anything around your area, make a day trip. Go hit a couple stores in different neighborhoods. That definitely is pretty much what we do.
There are like at least a dozen Goodwills in the metro. Like they're all over the place.
Yeah. And then Savers, there's definitely more than a dozen around too. They're really nice too. So
and think of there's also the Salvation Army has good thrift stores. My fiance bought like a '70s jacket, like a real leather like '70s jacket at there. Great condition. So don't discount like Salvation Army or consignment stores, I would think too. You know, anything that's got clothes, or even like you can take little knickknacks and try and add them into your costume or use them for armor.
And sometimes you might even, like, at a Goodwill, you might find embroidery floss, you might find craft foam, you might find, like, supplies, like, actual things that you can use for materials. Because I know, like, some people, I have friends in Iowa who, like, hit up Goodwill stores because they know they're going to find muslin, they're going to find craft foam, they're going to find beads, they're going to find everything they're looking for.
Sometimes you can find, like prop bases too. Like, we got a book at Goodwill once.
We did.
That was like we were going to make it a spell book, so we painted some stuff on the front.
We bought like a red book.
Yeah, you can find just like
a flame on the front, and I mean, it's some weird book. Like, I think Alan started reading some of it, and he was like, "The true way is the best way," and stuff like that. And it was like,
it was
really
a weird
silly.
book.
It was
a weird
I didn't get very far.
Yeah, it was really weird. So we were like, maybe not just don't read it because it's weird. Don't open it. Like, just like show the cover. So I mean, yeah, you can do stuff like that, and Like, just, yeah, like up-thrifting items that you find. Ooh, we got another thing.
Are mashup characters a thing now? Can you compete with these, or is it better to only mimic original characters? Is this lady's question.
That's a good question.
You can compete in any costume that you want to compete in. If you do compete in like a mashup character, you just have to do more legwork, basically. Because I mean, this more applies to like the higher levels of competition. At the lower levels, you don't have to worry about it as much.
Depending on the con.
Right. Depending on the con.
I will crib that because there are cons that original characters or mashups need to have just as much reference material as
yes, and that's the thing. If you're going to do a mashup, you need to have. You still need references if you're going to do a bigger cons competition, because there's part of the scoring in some cons is going to be how well you mimicked whatever you were mimicking. So if that is a mashup character or an original concept or whatever it happens to be, if it doesn't have like a canon version, you still need to have what you are going to make drawn out, or like the different pieces of it drawn out. Like say you even if it's like, I'm going to do this weird hat, or I'm going to do this art that I found on the internet, like a DeviantArt picture or whatever, you need to show that picture. Show that picture to the judges.
Yeah, show that picture. Please, please, please credit the artist. Like, don't try to say like, I came up with this armor set, because that's art theft, and I'm like, no. I'm mad about stuff like that.
But if you're doing something that's a little bit more original, and there isn't like one piece of art that is this thing,
and it's
find examples of what you're going to make, like piecemeal. Yeah. Like if you're gonna do like like you were talking about a steampunk version of Jack Skellington, if you wanted to compete in that, you would be like, okay, this is the hat that I based my hat off of. Like it looks like this hat, and with like this pair of goggles, or like whatever it happens to be. Like find just pictures of things that you're going to do separately, and then put them all together. That's fine, as long as you have the references that you use to make the character.
Yeah, and if you're like artistically inclined or can like scribble out a quick little drawing, like draw that too. Because when we did Balthier and Fran, we had to redesign his breastplate because obviously it's not a lady. So the cut of Fran's like the whole like armor like chest piece was like cut for someone who has breasts, and it's like, well, he like doesn't have that, so we gotta like do it differently. So
also for the back of
I drew him up.
both
and
here.
I was like, here. Yeah. Oh my god.
The back, basically on the art book version that we were going off of, the back of his thing was just a bunch of black lines.
Like this big, and it's just a bunch of little scribbles.
So it's
and I'm like, Amano, what are you doing, man? Like,
we had no pattern to go off of, so Janella like took the kind of what we could see as the main lines and like drew our pattern that we used.
I channeled my inner Amano
beforehand. So she drew out our pattern, and then we used that pattern, and then we had that as a reference for what we did. So yeah, you can totally do these mashup characters and different things as long as you give the judges references towards what you're doing.
And it kind of has to make sense too, because I mean, like, yeah, you can cross over like anything and everything you want, but if you want to compete with it, like, make sure that like what you're crossing over makes sense. Like your mashup makes sense. Like, please don't do like, I don't know, like something just like really silly, like two fandoms that have absolutely no connection, nothing, like absolutely nothing. Like, I really don't personally.
I don't know that I agree.
I don't know.
I would say cosplay whatever you want.
About, like, mashups.
Competition can be a little bit different, and that is one thing. If you do the mashups and stuff for a competition, be aware that there may be judges that don't agree with us, that say, like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah. I mean, there are those people, they're not that common.
Yeah. I mean, we've walked into judging where, like, we did Balthier and Fran, and, like, a judge was uncomfortable that we had switched the genders of the characters. But we really didn't. We made them gender fluid in a way, because we didn't want to change who we were.
Are still a subjective thing. Like, it's still going to be a group of people bringing their opinions onto your costume. So if they don't like that sort of thing, you might run into that sort of problem. But it's not going to happen every time. So if you run into that, just compete again somewhere else.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not like the biggest handicap if you like walk in and one of the judges is like, I don't really agree, but you've got other judges who are like, yeah, I totally agree. So they might actually just like stomp out that opinion in deliberations. They might be just like, whatever, that's your bias. Like, you can sit out on judging this one. That's fine.
Cosplay is about you in the end. Yeah. So if you really want to do something and you like it, like, do it. Like,
if you like zombie Disney princesses, you do that, but it's not my
Exactly.
thing, you know? Like, I'm just not a Disney princess person, but like, if you are, totally
But
cool. But I
if
also
you-
love Disney princesses.
if
like,
you craft
they're
it, if you craft it really, really, really well, the judges are going to appreciate that
Yeah.
to some extent. Like, there's-
craftsmanship is kind of the biggest thing, because
Yeah.
even if it's a mashup and I see it, I personally don't care for mashups, but like if it's crafted well and I'm like, that's really pretty,
and you have
or
references.
that's really scary looking or something like that,
Yeah.
I'll be like, you did exactly what you needed to be doing in this costume, 100%, thank you. Like, but I might not agree with like the idea of the costume, but like that doesn't matter, because the costume itself is speaking.
Right. It's
More.
supposed to be more about the craft than the concept.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
When you're doing competitions,
Yes.
basically.
Mhm.
You know, if you're not competing, I feel like it
Right.
really shouldn't matter
Yeah,
whether you
absolutely.
Whatever you want it out on the floor, it's
Right,
whatever
and
you
that's
want.
the caveat again.
Yeah.
We're talking about competitions and that, but like if you just want to cosplay, like cosplay is for you. Cosplay whatever you want, however you want.
Yeah.
Like nobody really has the right to judge you for it.
Yeah, when you're out on the floor, it's your costume. It's just whatever you want to do. But like specifically for costume contests and masquerades, you have to think a little bit more about it. Like you just have to be a little.
Just because you
Yeah.
you are subjecting yourself to somebody else's opinions.
Yes.
That's what it comes
Yeah.
down to.
So you have to be a little open for like critique and stuff like that, or like someone's opinion affecting how they look at it. So
Yeah, so I think biggest takeaway is if you're going to compete, make sure you read the rules.
Yep.
And figure out, I mean, I'm assuming when you compete, there's different classes that you
Yep.
fall into.
Yep.
You know, like we had at LionCon, we had beginner, intermediate, and then we had
And that's pretty
master.
common, yeah.
yeah,
You know, and every con will be different. Like I know Wizard World, it's open,
Free
free
for all,
range.
yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
have best in show, best male villain, best female villain, best
Yeah.
male villain, or best male hero, female hero, best group.
Yeah.
And group can be anything from 2 people to, I think,
every
I went
concept.
one year. Yeah, I think South Park won one year. It was a family. They did South Park characters. And they did a really good job. And then another one I went to, it was, I think, a WoW group. It was a
Okay,
family had won, and they had a little kid with them. And, like, the judge asked them, so did you want to do this, or did your parents make you do this? And he's like, no, I kind of wanted to do it.
future cosplayer in the making.
Yeah, it's future cosplayer. I mean, he was probably only 10. And
Yeah.
I mean, his parents made his whole costume, obviously.
Right.
You know, he did not
This is
sew
10.
this. And then he had, like, fur and armor, and it was insane. I mean, they definitely won Best Group.
with the fun nines with him. That's cute.
For the local area, just a couple more questions, and we'll let you guys go.
Yeah, well, we got another question
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Also, cool thing. Our thing at 3 was canceled, so if we have to go over, like we're fine.
right, yeah.
We can keep going.
We're fine.
Oh, okay.
So considering getting into cosplay, where's a good place to start? Good study cosplay vets. Advice, please.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's like learning from people who've done it for a long time and done it successfully.
Right.
Like,
If you know somebody who cosplays, that is the best place to start.
Yeah. Like-
I mean, be like,
reaching out to your friends
Exactly.
and reaching out to people in the community in your area are
Right.
probably the best resources that you have.
yeah, definitely. People are your best resource. I would say for a first outfit, try to find something that is not as big of a commitment. I mean, don't start on like Monster Hunter or like
Well,
something
yeah, please
just
don't build a
insane.
Monster Hunter set.
Start with something that's going to be a little bit easier. Maybe start with a thrift up, like just
Yeah.
do something where you only have to do a few portions of it. But yes, definitely.
Don't do something that like makes you spend a bunch of money. So like,
Right.
don't think, oh my gosh, my first costume, I want to build an armor set out of Warbla. Like, no,
No.
Like, please
Yeah.
no, because
And so-
Warbla sheets are like $86 plus shipping. Please don't do that to yourself, and then just be like, oh, I can't do this. This is too hard.
And
Like
there
that's the fail safe.
There are a
It's like,
ton of tutorials online.
yeah.
I would go look for the tutorials that are going to tell you how to do a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
So say like you're making a like a jacket and something else. Like look for a tutorial about how to make a jacket, or even how to make the jacket of the specific character.
Yeah,
Because
there are things like
a
that.
lot of the more popular characters have tutorials for every portion of their outfit.
Yeah,
out there.
I know. Like,
if
I
you
know,
do-
Bleach was like a really big
Yeah.
thing. They were like, "Here's how to make a Soul Society."
Yeah,
outfit
there are
from head to
probably
toe. Like,
there are
literally
probably
everything.
200 tutorials on how to make their like squad jackets. Like, look for tutorials on specific things that will give you a step by step. Is one of the easiest ways to start, because then you don't have to try to fumble your way through anything. You've got like a guide. Like that's a good way to start.
And yeah, even if you can't find something to thrift, like finding a pattern and having that friend who might know how to figure out that pattern is also really helpful too.
It doesn't you have to be specifically a cosplay friend. If you have a friend that knows how to sew, they might be able to help you get through a pattern to make something.
They might know how to teach you to do a couple things on the machine, or maybe if they are a really good friend of yours and they're totally like willing to do this, they might even let you like use their machine with them watching, being like, okay, now you need to like sew these two pieces together. I've pinned them for you. Sew straight, please. Like, you know, like it's just like they might help you out a little bit. Like always look to your friends. Your friends are friends for a reason, and you probably have some things in common where you're like, yeah, we both like to do cosplay.
Speaking of your friends, if you don't have friends who already do cosplay, try to get somebody else into it, because it's a lot easier to do as a duo or a group, like especially starting out, than it is to try and muddle through it on your own.
Cosplay is infectious, like it really is. Like if someone starts doing it, a lot of people think it's really cool. Like I've had some friends who've like tried to do cosplay, but they're just like, you know, I'm not really into it, so I'll just make like one costume and that'll be my costume.
Right, and it might not even be somebody
not like hardcore about it, but like they got interested enough to try to make something, and now they like think it's really fun, but they just don't want to make another costume. But they're like, I love this. I want to do this all the time.
So buddy up.
Yeah. Partner system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I currently don't have really a lot of friends that cosplay, so I'm kind of on my own. But I have a lot of friends that sew or do craft stuff.
Yeah, crafty, like thrifty friends are really good to have. Like, people who are like DIYers, people who are like Pinterest obsessed and make a bunch of stuff. They're like, I made this bunny butt pillow.
Even if you know somebody who like likes to mess with like wood, like woodworkers, people like that. Anybody who does crafts is somebody that could potentially help you make a better costume.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it was I learned a bunch from my parents, because my mother's a sewer, and she's also a carpenter. Like, she also does a bunch of carpentry, and then my stepdad also does a bunch of carpentry, and between those two, I learned woodworking and sewing at, like, middle school, elementary age. Like, I was very crafty, so I was, like, right into it right away. So, but I mean, that's something that, like, your parents know how to do, or you have, like, an aunt and uncle who know how to do it, or a cousin who's really good at it. Like, try to, like, watch them a couple times. Like, ask them if you want to do a small project with me or something like that. Like, see, because it's also a good bonding experience. I mean, like, you know, I'll never forget the moments at the sewing machine with my mom. Like, you know. So, I mean, her FOF machine is so much older than mine, but I still respect it more than I respect mine, because it does what it wants, and it's, like, good. But...
So what's your guys' opinion on, like, I mean, not competing, but, like, you go out and you go online and you buy, like, an asana costume? Because, I mean, that would be, to me, I thought about it because it's like, I don't think I could make that by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's another, I mean, we've been talking about competition a lot just because we're going to be judging the competition at LionCon. Yeah. But, I mean, cosplay is so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that there's a whole bunch of cosplay businesses online. There's, you can have a lot of fun just dressing up with something that you didn't necessarily make. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and buying a costume maybe that you feel like you couldn't make. Maybe you feel like it would be too annoying. Like, there's any reason that you can, any reason you have to buy a costume online is a legitimate reason to buy a costume online. Like, if you...
I mean, if you feel that dressing up and being a character is more fulfilling to you than making the costume and wearing it...
Right.
That's like another strain of cosplay. I mean, there's like cosplay for the sake of being the character, and there's cosplay for the sake of making art, basically. I mean, like, and like people who buy costumes can also do like beautiful photo shoots and stuff like that. But I mean, like, you know, that's just another strain of that branch of cosplay. So it's like cosplay's a big tree. It just has a bunch of different little that go out.
So if you want to buy a costume, more power to you. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that make costumes for a living, and they need a living too. So
yeah, I mean, like commissioners. I personally I like commission. Like I don't like commissioning. I don't like asking commissions. Like it's really hard for me to commission because I feel like, oh, I should be able to make this myself. But like there are things that are outside of my reach, like vectoring. I'm not good at that. I don't have the programs for it. So I do reach out and I get commissioners to do it for me, and then I pick up everything afterwards and do everything else. But like if you want a whole costume commission, like fair warning, there are people out there who like won't make a good costume even though they're commissioners. So like do your research. If you're going to commission a costume, do your research. If you're going to buy a costume, do your research. Is it a credible site? True. Are they going to try to steal your money? Are they going to give you a cotton made of sassy satin?
There is unfortunately a lot of that.
Please, like, just do your research on it. Like, if you have a friend who's purchased a costume before. Ask them what site they purchased it from. Ask, like,
especially if they liked it.
Yeah, especially if they liked it. Like, ask to see it. If you're like a friend that goes over their house a lot, or if you're a friend that like has seen them in it at a convention, like if you're going to a convention again and they might be bringing it, ask them if you can see it. Like, is it like are the sewing lines sloppy? Does it look very machine made? Like, you know, that's just something like if I bought a costume, I would not feel comfortable wearing something that wasn't well made. I'd be like, well, I spent my money on this, but it looks like a garbage bag. I'd be like, okay, that was a loss on my point. Now I'm sad.
Right.
But yeah, just do your research. Be very careful about buying costumes. Be very careful about commissioning. Like, it's just like, be careful about when you want to make a costume too. Like, don't make a Monster Hunter set as your first costume. Like,
Might not go very well.
like, it won't go well. Like, everyone's gonna have bad time.
And do make something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because you're much more likely to finish something that you're excited about.
Yeah. So like if you want to make an easy costume but you have no desire to make a costume from a series, but like everyone's like, oh, it's an easy costume to start with. So like, for example, if you're like, oh well, I want to make an easy costume, I don't want it to be too hard, someone recommends like Ruby to you, RWBY, and you don't like the series, you don't know the characters, I don't know, like you have something about it that doesn't appeal to you, don't cosplay from it then. Like, don't do it to yourself. Don't sink money into a costume you don't like, into a character you don't like, into a series you don't like. Like, make it you, make it important to you, just because that will give you more enthusiasm to continue, because sometimes it just gets a little hard to continue when you're like, man, I don't have any connection to this character. And we've run into that before. We've run into it before where we're like, we really don't know these characters very well. Like, oh, bummer. Like, I spent a bunch of time making this costume and now I don't like to wear it because I don't know the character. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever tried, it's called Wish, it's a shopping app?
Ooh,
You've never heard of it?
No.
Yeah, it's a lot of it comes from China. I actually ordered a Japanese schoolgirl outfit for High School of the Dead character.
Okay.
One, because I hate making skirts. It was
You
pain.
and me both.
Yeah, and it actually fit pretty well. Obviously, it's not perfect because you know it's measured differently. I think
It's not tailored to you.
and there's sizes I had to get like a 2X.
That's one thing that you can, when ordering online from those kinds of sites. Sorry, I have a donut in my mouth. But when ordering from sites, make sure that you have a seller or a commissioner who will respect measurements or take custom measurements. Like, make sure that that's a thing. Also, if you're gonna be measuring yourself, don't do it yourself. Make someone else measure you, because your measurements change. Because if you're like measuring your bust and you like look down, you're crunching in, like you're moving. So make sure that you have a friend or
tailors
like
are still a thing also. If you do end up buying a costume and it straight up doesn't fit, like something is wrong with it, it's not necessarily the end of the line. If you want to spend money, you can get it fixed. The tailors are around. You'll just have to look them up.
Tailors are also a good like source of reference to go get your measurements done.
Right. Tailors will do your measurements and they will get it perfectly.
Yeah, because that's their.
But we usually don't charge very much for that. For just taking measurements.
Or at all. Like sometimes
they'll.
Yeah, sometimes tailors will either charge you very minimal, like $10, if even that. Or they'll just be like, sure, yeah, I'll do it for free. Like, boom, 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 done. And it takes them like 20 seconds to get your main measurements, all that you need. Just come in with a form being like, I need to have these specific measurements, because you can usually print them off of those sites where you can buy cosplays from. They'll tell you what measurements they need for a custom piece. So like either have that printed off or written down somewhere so you're a little more professional walking in there, not being like, I just need my measurements done.
Well, you can do that.
You can do that too.
But they'll just
they
do
might
all
be
of them.
like, what? Or they'll just do all of them, and
which is
good.
good. I mean, you want to do all of them,
Yeah.
because depending on the site, they might need different measurements.
That's true. But like, if they do have a form where they're like, hey, you can print off this custom like form, or we need these specific parts of your body measured for this costume, like write them down. Be like, I need this tailor to focus on these ones so we both can be on with our way quicker. So that kind of thing. So it's just convenience.
Did you guys ever kind of order your own costumes when you first started out, or you just did the thrift up?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I just tried to make something. I just bought some fabric, and I was like, I can sew probably, and I couldn't, but, you know, I kind of figured it out.
I thrifted up and also made costumes at the same time.
Okay.
So a lot of it was I had like my mom and my grandma with their like keen eye for sewing, really watching me and making sure that everything was going right. And when it didn't, they just took over because they were like,
No,
this is how you do it.
Yeah.
So like they would like let me suffer, and then they would help me if I failed. So that was nice of them. But and it's like tough love, but you know, whatever. So, but like I would sew costumes and make handmade costumes as well as thrifting up. So I've never ordered a costume, and I have a bunch of friends who've ordered costumes and they look awesome. So I mean, like if I ever find that
It's just not for
costume,
us.
I want
That's
to.
just what it comes down to.
Yeah, how
Like-
much time,
like-
effort you want to commit.
Right.
would
When I
assume,
started, for me, it was partially just to like try sewing. Like I just
Yeah.
wanted to see if I could do it.
And like a lot of people get really deterred from like ordering a costume when they see a price. They're like, oh, $150 for this costume. I'm like, dude, if you tried to make that costume, you would spend more than $150 on literally everything that you need. If you don't have a sewing machine, you're like SOL.
Yeah.
So like just the materials and the time would be exponentially more than $150. So like honestly, like a price tag is a price tag for a reason. Someone needs to make money somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it's one of those things where, you know, if you expect to eat out, like, tip. Like, that's basically what it is when buying a costume. Expect a costume, pay price. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody else who spent, 8-12 hours making this costume and
Right.
buying the material, and you're compensating them for their time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know it's frustrating if you make something, because I do craft projects on the side, and people are like, oh, will you take less? And it's like, no, I'm not going to take less.
I will take less time then.
I spent 2 hours making this. This is what the price is. This is not negotiable. If you buy a bunch, maybe I'll give you a knockoff on the price kind of thing. But I find it kind of insulting to sit there for a
Right.
handmade product to bargain a price.
Yeah. And that's where it gets into, like, fair trade, basically. It's like, it's that along with commissioning, like, Art Sally and stuff like that. Like, things that are handmade
Yeah.
have heart in them.
Mostly-
Please, like,
yeah.
like, they have heart and they have reason.
I mean, the people who are making
Sometimes they
those
have one or
are
the other.
probably already selling at the lowest price point they can to try and get people to buy them.
Yeah. And, like,
So,
don't expect, like, if you go on to, like, Cosplay Commission, like, a Facebook group, don't expect a beautiful costume for $100. Like, please don't do that to somebody. Don't be that person. Like, don't go on there and be like, I want, the Cinderella dress from the new movie for $100.
Oh, God, no.
Like, it's like, Lord help me, you might get one layer of tulle. Like,
long story short, if you're going to buy a costume, it might cost a little bit.
yeah, and be aware of that. Yeah. So,
So a good question is, what do you find to be the best part about cons that you go to?
Oh, man.
I spend most of my time in green rooms because I'm a competition junkie, but like the green rooms are really nice. You get to meet a bunch of cool people.
People, I'd say, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The reason for cons is the people. Like, I have
In my
met so many friends, like long-lasting, very close friends.
Right.
Like,
Friends that we now
literally-
see outside of
Yeah,
cons.
we literally
like,
just had one of our friends who we met in like the terrible 13-hour green room we were in one time. She came over last week. She drove here from Chicago and stayed for like 4 days. Like, we are friends on
So,
the level of like
yeah.
living down the street. I can go over to your house whenever I want, friend. Like, they will drive to see us. I will drive to see them.
Yeah. My favorite thing about conventions is that it's a bunch of like-minded people in the same place. Like, I can find all kinds of people that are going to like some of the things that I like, even the weird stuff that I like, or like the esoteric games. Like, maybe it's a less well-known or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, somebody there is going to know what it is, or like,
Yeah, it's like someone, like, speaking of our friend from Chicago, she was the only person in the entire green room who knew who we were dressed as. We were dressed
Right.
as Pent Louise from Fire Emblem 7, and she was like, oh my god, I know who you are! I didn't ever think I would see this in real life! Ah! And, like, it's just one of those things where
yeah.
you make someone's day by dressing up as that character, and they're so happy to see you as that character, and they're so happy to see it done well, and they're like, yes, this is everything I want, and then you become friends, and you're like, this is great. So it's just, it's a bonding experience. Like, cons are meant for bonding, they're meant for connecting. Like, it definitely is a social outreach, it's a social activity. So it definitely, I don't know, yeah, it plays for the, like, whole...
So the people is our favorite part of the
Yeah,
con.
connecting.
I think is what it comes down to.
That's gotta be fun, people that you know or you meet through the cons, and they're like, oh my god, I follow your page, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I meet you.
That is one of the weirdest things that happens
Yeah,
to me at
for
cons
sure.
now. Like, suddenly, like, we made Wig Cosplay, and we were like, yeah, we'll never become a big thing, and then, like, suddenly, like, a few months after I made our page, I judged at Anime Fusion, and someone came up to me and was like, I follow your cosplay page, your work is beautiful, it's so nice to meet you. I like didn't know what to say back to her because I was so freaked out. I was like, oh my god, it's a fan, it's a real person who follows my page that isn't my mom. Like, oh my god, like, oh, and isn't my best friend. Like, it's a stranger who's now like an acquaintance, and it's like, this is what cosplay is. Like, this is what it is. Like, we have almost 700 likes on our page, and it's like, this is 700 hard-earned likes, and that to me is worth more than 12,000 crowdsourced L4Ls. You know, it's like, so, like, it's when people, like, approach us and they're like, I know your stuff, it's so cool, like, it's nice to meet you in person. Like, don't worry if I don't reply to you right away, because I'm probably still, like, starstruck. I'm like, oh my god, this person recognized me, what? So.
Okay, so we'll go for 5 more minutes. So we'll go for another 5 minutes. We're at about an hour and 25 minutes we've been going, which doesn't seem like an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah,
this has
true.
been fine.
Yeah, keep the questions coming.
It's your last chance.
Last chance. You guys all got 5 minutes.
At least until LionCon. I mean,
yes, then LionCon. Do you have any cons in Minnesota that you're just either gonna go to or you're gonna guest at or anything?
Yeah, well, in Minnesota, well, not until like Metacon.
Well,
so Metacon will be at Metacon. We'll be at LionCon. We'll be at Anime Fusion as well.
Yep.
That's pretty much for Minnesota, that I know of now. Because if there's a con that pops up and you want to see us there, please message the con. Tell them, hey, we want to see Wig Cosplay there. Or like reach out to us and be like, hey, we know of a con that we want you to be at. Or like we want to see your presence at. Like we want to see you like present a panel or guest at. Like, don't be afraid to email cons about guests because they actually kind of like that. Because sometimes they might be struggling to find guests and they're like, what do we do? So message a con, message us, we'll reach out. So yeah,
the only other con we're guesting at is Nexus Game Fair in Milwaukee, coming up in like a month.
Yeah, and then after that, Anime Iowa.
ChapelCon.
Like that.
I haven't. No. Where is that?
That one I've actually heard of. It's in Albert Lee. It's a first year con. It is in July at some time.
Cool.
They actually have some pretty big guests.
Awesome.
They have like a couple Sons of Anarchy guy.
Nice.
They have Hannah Ava. She's a cosplayer.
Cool.
Super Cassie, I think her name is.
Yeah, we worked with her actually.
Yeah,
she's ShoCon. She was a guest when we were paneling and judging, so she actually sat next to me. So
yeah, I've seen her Instagram and all that. I follow her. She's very, very good at what she does too. And I think he got she's an Asian.
She's good at PRing, definitely.
Yeah, there's another one. She does a Wizard World circuit. She's an Asian cosplayer. It's Mowgli or Mashaller? Can't think of her name. She does like really odd characters. She did like a pirate Poison Ivy. She does a Star Wars Jedi Jasmine.
Okay, so she's a mashup person.
Yeah, she's a big mashup person. She does do traditional stuff.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
I know we're kind of busy in July, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's literally all the way down south, Minnesota, Albert Lee, Iowa border.
I mean, we drove to KatsuCon, which, if anyone needs to know, it's in Washington, D.C. So we drove from St. Paul to Washington, D.C., National Harbor. It was 21 hours. So, I mean, honestly, when people are like, oh, there's a con, but it's in like 4 hours away, it's kind of far. And we're like, that's a day trip, honey.
There you go.
That's easy. So, like, we don't, it's not really a thing when it's like far to travel. If we can have like enough, I guess, notice, we're able to do it. Like we have done many a long field trip.
The other thing that I want to do at LionCon, and I haven't set this up yet, but I'm translating a Japanese RPG, like D&D style RPG.
Oh, okay.
I would love to run a one-shot at LionCon.
So you have to explain that to me.
Right. So basically, I want to run the game at LionCon.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys have like Pathfinder and D&D games going on. So I want to run one of this called Allshard. It's like a Japanese RPG similar to D&D in those that I'm translating, and I'd like to run like just a fun game of that.
Yeah, we could definitely.
So I think that'd be
set
super
that
cool
up.
because it's something that you would like never get to play
it's
unless
honestly
you know how to
something-
speak Japanese.
Yeah, it's honestly something that you would never see
Right.
unless you
like it's, you don't have
lived
the
in
chance to play
Japan or
this.
are like super into
Yeah.
that strain of like Japanese
So
art.
it's a super unique thing that I'd like to run at LionCon too. If you're interested in, if you're a D&D fan or Pathfinder fan or anything like
It's
that,
very similar.
and you want
those.
to try something different, I'm gonna look at running a game of all shards. So
Yeah, send us the info and we'll put it on the website. We'll post it on the Facebook. We do have an Instagram account too. Yeah, just send us that and we'll get that into our gaming schedule.
Cool.
I'm sure we can fit it in. I know we do have Pathfinder D&D. I think we're gonna do a Star Wars one too.
Super cool.
So we're definitely going to have a lot of tabletop gaming, just like
Yeah.
last year, and we're going to have people running the tabletop. So, in between your panels and the
Yeah,
judging,
exactly.
and we have
Yeah.
2 days, Saturday and
Right.
Sunday,
Yeah.
you're very welcome to run a few games. I'm sure there will be people like, yeah, I really like D&D, but, I'm going to try something different. So
Mhm.
I'm not a tabletop gamer, so I thought about it, but
I feel like the spaces would fill though because it is something that people have never seen. Like
yeah.
it's just a unique experience.
it's
Is what it
cool.
would be, you know.
It's cool.
So you're translating the game like rules and play into English, from Japanese
Yes.
to English. Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
When we were in Japan, we
For-
picked up all the little books
For personal use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't sell it or anything, but
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah,
I
well,
can
then
run
you
it all
wouldn't
I
have
want.
it anymore. There you go. You can run the game. We can definitely do that. Well, thank you, Katie Briggs. You're awesome. So we're gonna finish up. Do you guys have any last words you want to say?
You're the PR person.
Yeah, PR.
Yeah, well, I guess, thanks for watching. We would really appreciate if you would give LionCon's page a like and give our page, Wig Cosplay, a like.
Yeah, it's linked earlier in the
Yeah,
comments.
we linked it earlier, but we can link it again right at the end here. Go, Paragon.
All right, I got it.
Do the thing. Wait, that's reverse roll. Wait a minute.
And then, of course, and LionCon, you just click on them. if you
Yeah,
wanna
and
like them.
LionCon, just click on their logo. It's right there. So, yeah, give our pages a like. Follow us what we're doing. Come to LionCon. See what we're up to.
Absolutely.
Since LionCon's grown, it's now 2 days long, so you have double the opportunity to show up.
Yeah, 2 days to work on a cosplay if you want and get
Right.
that all done.
Yeah.
And like I said, these are our guest judges. There'll be 2 of them. We probably will have another judge or 2 to help. Because you can't just run
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You guys are in sync, so we have to have another person in there. But you guys, come to LionCon. It's in St. Cloud. I'll turn the camera here so everybody can actually see me. It's in.
Second person.
Oh my god, it's another person. It is in St. Cloud, Minnesota. For people who are not know where that is basically central Minnesota. It's about an hour west of the Minneapolis, St. Paul area.
Right off 94.
Right off 94. Yes, very
You
convenient.
know about 94.
It will be at the Rivers Convention Center. It's
It's a really big convention center.
Yes.
It's super pretty.
it is right on the Mississippi River. It's very pretty. We are going to have tabletop gaming. We are going to have a cosplay contest.
There are hotels nearby. There's actually a hotel connected to the con center, I believe, the Kelly Inn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so if you need a room for the night, they're very reasonably priced. You can go there. There's food all over that area. Since
Yep.
it's downtown St. Cloud, it's right there. There's a bunch of food within walking distance, so you don't have to park and
Yeah, park it.
repark, which is a thing at cons. So you just want your car to be there and be square. So
Yeah, you don't want to have to get up and move and repay for parking.
Yeah.
We do have a parking ramp attached to the convention center now, so parking is free on weekends, I believe.
Yes.
There is street parking that is free on the weekends. They're not metered on the weekends.
Yeah.
There is 2 hotels downtown St. Cloud. We do have discount rates for the 2 in downtown. There are several that are farther out into St. Cloud and Waite Park, which is a city you can't tell us apart, but very
I couldn't when I went there.
Yeah, we do have Lyft and Uber now in St. Cloud, so if you have the Lyft or Uber app, you can take them too, or we have other taxi services. But back to the convention, we will have an anime viewing room, so if you have any anime you would like to see, you're very welcome to give a suggestion. What series do you want to see? What movies do you want to see? I know the new one, Your Name, is a really big one. It's
Yeah.
like the highest grossing anime film in Japan. it beat out Spirited Away.
Wow.
That's huge. That's
Yeah,
huge.
that is very. I mean, Spirited Away is like a #1 anime.
That's like our
movie.
Gone with the Wind. Like, or,
Yes.
yeah. And
Is
like
there Gone
Titanic
with the
and
Wind?
stuff. Yeah.
We will have panel rooms. And like they will be running panels, and they talked about kind of a cosplaying 101 is one panel they will be running. They're coming up with more good ones. I'm very excited actually because I'm starting cosplaying more.
Yeah, if you have any ideas for panels that you'd love to see us run, like
Let us
cosplay specific ones, since we are running an Elements of Cosplay, which is like basically everything in cosplay briefly touched on, and like a massive, lots of information panel. If you want to see us narrow in on something, feel free to like comment to LionCon. Feel free to comment our way, and we'll send it to LionCon. Just make sure that you get your voice heard. Like we are here to, help and spread our knowledge for you guys. So
yep. So keep an eye on our Facebook, our Instagram, and our website, which is www.lion-con.com. These are our lovely guests, and we will have more information coming up. We are also doing, I believe it's called a swap. So we're going to have people, I know Anime Detour does it, where you can bring in your extra
kinda like White
cosplay
Elephant.
stuff.
yeah.
You bring in your cosplay stuff. You bring in your extra tabletop gaming pieces that maybe you don't play this game anymore.
Or like a manga volume that you have double of, and you're like, I don't need I don't need another copy of volume 3. Maybe someone else will be happy with it. Or like, I have volumes 1 through 3 of this series that I never read and don't want anymore, but I can't sell them. Like, I'll just like white elephant them to somebody because maybe they'll appreciate them. So yeah, swap meets are super cool, by the way. Like, those are real fun.
Yeah, so we will be having that, and I will make a comment. It was brought to my attention with the animes. If you'd like to watch them, we do have license only through Funimation. So Funimation, who does a lot of the English translations, we only have their license through them. But again, their repertoire is huge.
Yeah, Funimation is the largest like licensing company out there right now for America. So they have literally like everything.
By
Like,
a lot.
next to Amniplex, they have literally everything.
Yep. I know they do. Your Name is Funimation got the rights to that. Full Metal Alchemist is one. Psychopaths is another one. Claymore is one. Summer Wars the movie is one. So there's a lot out there, and I'm sure if you're a big fan like I am, you kind of lose track of who runs who. But yeah, if you have an anime, we'll look into it and we'll see if we can get if we have the license rights to it and everything. But again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment on our page. If you have any questions for Wig, go ahead and comment. They will be at LionCon. Yay!
Yeah.
If you
And we'll
got
see you
questions about
there.
your costume coming up, you can message us too.
So thanks everybody who watched on and off. Bye everybody.
I'm gonna wave on the screen. There we go.
Have a good Sunday.